Welcome back to this module on brainstorming. In the first part, we learned a little bit about how the brain functions, where I told you two small little tips. One, do something new every day. And second, use your senses. Once you do these two things, well, you are on your way to having a more powerful, better used brain, which will help you all through. We are talking about brainstorming in this video. What do you mean by brainstorming? Typically, it is very important to have an idea generation. I will be spending a while on how do we generate ideas. Remember, idea generation is a function of the brain. The brain works on two pillars: imagination, association. That's what it's all about. Even idea generation will work on these two pillars. And to facilitate that, well, do something new every day and use your senses better. And you've got the whole work ready for you to work. Let's try to find out a little bit more. Brainstorming. How do we do that? Let's find out. What is the process? Why do we need this? It helps when you have a structured thinking process. Otherwise, we all get ideas at different points of the day when we are doing different activities. But when we really need it, we are found lacking. We might have a great idea when we are having a shower, but when we want it in the office or at work or while competing, well, it's difficult to go in for a shower at that point of time, right? So we need something better. A structured thinking process. Remember, mind maps uses imagination and association, a very powerful idea generation technique. And you start with a central image. Why? Because your brain hones into that. So, when you have to generate ideas about a particular point, a particular topic, create that in the center. And trust yourself, trust your brain to come up with great thoughts on that. We need to remember social functions as well. Imagine that you are with a group of friends, okay, and you get one idea. It may be a great idea where all your friends go, wow, you're such a brilliant, such a genius. Or it may not be up to their standards, their way of thinking. It could be totally different from their perception. And what do? They shoot it down. Heh, what do you mean? It doesn't work. They ridicule you. But that does not mean that that was not a good idea. Your brain has come up with a good idea. So, we recommend that whenever you sit for idea generation, ideating, do that as an individual exercise first. Because you are not going to be biased. The others will have a biased view, not yourself, not your brain. Whatever you get, put it down. Their ideas, which could be segregated at a later stage, but stage one, have an individual mind map. Then you go in for a group mind map. Then you collate together. Then you get in together. How we find commonalities do that. Because what we've also found is that if we start discussing before doing the individual mind map, then your direction of thought is guided by the words of somebody else. Let's say you have 5 people sitting in a group and 1 or 2 people start on a particular path. everybody else starts thinking on that path. The individual contribution comes down. Hence, first, individuals. Let your brain think radiantly, a variety of thoughts, put them in, and then do a group mind map. A group mind map is going to help you identify the common points, the main branches. You have spoken about something, the same thing has been said in a different way by your colleague, put them all together as different sub branches on the main branch, and that's how you'll start creating. You need to have an environment which is conducive to thinking. If you're working on a project and all the resources required are not available, you'll be going out, wasting time and whiling away your energy. Get them all together, get the resources all in place, get all your materials in place, whatever is required, pen and paper and color and whatever you need, put them all together. It'll help you do better. The brain works best when it is not under stress. Too much stress, it kind of shuts down. Some of us feel I operate very well under stress. Well, to be honest, you've brought yourself to that position where you don't have a choice. You work well under stress because you're always stressed. But when you're relaxed, when you're informal, your brain has a very different take. It thinks very differently. Have an informal setting when you're thinking of having a brainstorming session. Then you come to the main problem, the problem statement, the mission statement. Okay, that is what will be typically given to the hackathoners. Now you have to look at this from different issues, from different points of view. Look at the problem statement properly. Have you been able to define it properly? Can you look at it from a different viewpoint? Is each of you clear on what the problem statement is? Because remember, every brain has the association property. A word, a simple word like food generates different associations in the minds of everybody in that team. So can you imagine what that problem statement or the mission statement, what kind of associations that word, that sentence is going to get in everybody's head? Very different ones, of course. So if everybody has to work together to solve that, let's be on the same page. Let's define, let's clarify what the problem statement is all about. And this we've seen many a time. You give them a word, everybody has thought of a different thing because they are not clear what's to be done. Get that clarity first and then let the brain do its work. Idea generation. What do you feel? Is there any relationship between the quantity of ideas generated and the quality of ideas generated? Is there any relationship? Think about it. Quantity versus quality. Many people have come up and told me, quantity doesn't matter. I just need that one quality idea to make it big. Possible. But my question to them is, as a person, as an individual, as a group, as a team, if you have generated only 2 ideas and you were forced to choose one from these 2, is that a good state to be in? Or as a team, you have generated, let's say, 20 ideas, and from that, what are the chances of finding a bright spark? Is it higher when you have 20 or is it higher when you have 2? Definitely higher quantity, the chances of getting a much better quality idea increase tremendously. Not to say that all the other 19 are not good. Definitely they are fine, but at different levels with different tweaking. But the chances of higher quality is better when there is more quantity. Ideate, get more quantities. And how do you do that? You have to stop being judgmental. Many a time we feel, no, this is not going to work. We judge it. We criticize the ideas of others. This is not going to work. What makes you think this is good? We criticize them. And what happens to that person whose idea is being judged or criticized? Well, he shuts down. Oh, not working, shut it down. Your brain, like I said, Aladdin's genie, your wish is my command. Yeah, that's what the genie said. So here they said, your idea is not good enough. Okay, your wish is my command. I shut down generating ideas. As compared to, let's not judge, let's not criticize. Bring them in. I want more ideas. Yes, your wish is my command. I'll give you more ideas. That's what your brain will say. Don't judge prematurely. Judgment, criticism happens at a later stage, but this is the ideation stage. Let's keep that for phase 2, maybe phase 3, not at this point. Don't nip it in the bud at this point. Generate as many ideas as you can. Experiment with different points. And then, once all the ideas have been generated, then you can set the objectives. Okay, initially we have to do this. These ideas we will use in phase 2. These will need a lot more working on. We'll work on them in maybe a quarter or 2. Keep them. Don't discard all of them at this point. Set them in. Be willing to experiment with different things. And there you get the solution. Once all of you get together, after all your ideas individually have been generated, then you have a collective team sharing, then you start editing. Okay, this idea combined with this will help do that better. It happens many a time. Have you seen that when you're working together, a person says one word, okay? He says it with a particular intent, all right? But that word triggers off a different thought process in your colleague's brain. He looks at it from a very different perspective. So the moment you are able to combine these different perspectives and see if you can build it up together with different perspectives from everyone, you will see that the solution that comes out is much better than what an individual could have got, because you have so many more brains working for you, with you. So it's very important, an individual brainstorming in the form of a mind map first, with no judgments, no criticism. Put in all the ideas, as many ideas as you get. Random, put them in the mind map form. Because what happens in a mind map? One word on one main branch triggers off many associations which you write on your sub branches. The word on the sub branch also triggers off a lot more associations which you put on the next level branches, and so on. It goes on and on and on. So whatever ideas you get, whichever they are, and then you see interconnects. This is connected to this, all right. Just put them down in a mind map form rather than a linear form. I know we are all conditioned to using linear notes, bullet points, one below the other. We've seen in the last video, it is not as effective as putting them down in mind maps. Mind maps is a very powerful ideation tool because of the power of the brain, imagination, association. Each word, each sub-branch, each sub-sub-branch generates more associations. And that's what's going to help you in the initial phase of your hackathon cracking. You need ideas. Generate them. So what is creativity? Idea generation is also part of it. How would you define creativity? Well, some people think that combining prior knowledge with a new idea to give a new thought process is what creativity is all about. Now note the very first line, combining prior knowledge. How do you remember prior knowledge? Recall, memory. Do you see how closely memory and creativity are interlinked? You remember it. It's there in your head. A new idea combined with the old knowledge, giving rise to a different thought process. That's what creativity is all about. You don't have to wait for a bolt of lightning to strike you and say, hey, this is a creative idea. No. Small things. Any random idea said by any of your colleagues with your prior knowledge could also help trigger it off in a very different direction. It could be a genius idea. That's what creativity is all about. But you have to remember the importance of memory. So in the previous video, when I mentioned about the study skills, where we also do memory, very important. It's going to help you in creativity as well. What is the use of creative thinking? How is it going to help you? Not only in your hackathon or the other, but in the rest of your life. It's going to help you be a better person, improve you as a person, improve your goals. Problem solving. Of late, it has been found that corporates are faced with issues that had no precedent. It had never happened earlier. And you are expected to come up with a creative solution to solve this. It rarely works today that, okay, we are facing this solution. When did we face this last time? Oh, 10 years ago. Let's go back, find out how we handled that and apply the same formula this time. It may not work. Conditions were different. People were different. Problems were different. Everything was very different then. Everything is very different now. You need to think creatively. What can I do to help this come out of this? Whenever you see a problem, there is an opportunity. Yeah? There's a big opportunity because somebody needs that problem to be solved. If they are not creative themselves, they will keep doing what they have always been doing. The same old way, walking that path A to B and hoping that I will get a different result. It may not happen. If you are a creative thinker, you will see that problem. Hey, okay, I can solve it in this way. Done. There's an opportunity for you, a value add. It'll help your future. The future, everybody talks about artificial intelligence. I would think about your inherent, natural human intelligence. We have not even tapped a small fraction of it. And why are we so scared of all those artificial intelligence machines? We have a huge data bank of things that we have not used yet. Start using your brain more effectively. It will change the way we look at the future. Motivates us a lot. Your idea gets accepted, you want to create more ideas. You will generate more ideas. Highly motivating. As compared to, hey, I've tried that, not working. Well, motivation levels are low. What are the conditions now? Let's get into creative mode. Let's create the conditions that will help us become more creative. Well, external and internal, both affect us. Like I mentioned, use your senses. Very important for the brain. I've seen many people say, I'm not interested in music or I'm not interested in art. Well, what are you doing? Just walking that path A to B repeatedly. The moment you start exposing yourself to different experiences, your brain is absorbing more and more data using different senses. Try a music class, art, read different books. If you are an IT professional, don't just read work-related stuff. Read very different, diverse things. If you look at the life of great thinkers, leaders of the world, follow what kind of books they read. You'll be amazed. They read books from very diverse things. Biology is being connected to physics. is being connected to healthcare. How? Because you are able to read them. Your brain thinks of the connections. How can I use this there? Expose yourself to different aspects. Go and attend conferences which are very different from your line of work. We have seen many people, when they get together, hey, one person is from the banking industry, another one is from, let's say, the credit card industry, another one is from the telecom industry. And when they share their views, something happens in the brain of everyone. If you are aware that you need to absorb information using all your senses. If you're just listening to them, not paying attention, well, that piece of information which might have changed the way you think and work and more creativity has just flown by. Just become aware. What about the environment which judges you? Is it conducive for you to think more creatively? Or is it, hey, you are not expected to be creative. So what does your genie, your brain say? Okay, I'm not expected to be creative. Well, I will not be creative. Your wish is my command. My views are not valued. I won't give them to you. So your environment needs to be conducive to able to listen to people, not judge. Let them think through. They may have just triggered a small aspect, which somebody else could have also picked up and taken it to a very different level, provided you don't judge them. The brain needs time for itself. There's a lot of chatter. You can't hear your own thoughts. Give it time to calm itself down, bring down the brain waves. High alert is not a very conducive way for creativity. You need to bring them down. A very effective way of doing that is use color, use images. Music helps you bring down the brain waves. That is a stage where you become more creative. Spend time with yourself, alone, solitude. Spend time with nature. Nature, when you look around, it gives you amazing ideas. Small pointers. I could do this. You can read a lot of books, how people have used nature in industrial products. Velcro, for example, was brought out because of a plant which had something sticking, and that triggered, hey, I could use that. Da, da, da. You will find many examples of that. Spend time with nature. Spend time with different people, intellectual people, who have a different thought process, from a different line. Be fully involved and engrossed in what they say, how they say. Now, what are the reasons of low creativity? Why are we inherently having a low creativity? Because as a society, we want to have the best answers. You look into any education institution. Even before the teacher has completed the question, hands go up. Yes, I know the answer. Sir, I know the answer. We want the right answer. The teacher asks that person, right answer, done. You are not bothered about the process. You got the right answer, done. That's why you're not creative enough. You are expected to give the right answer every time. The importance of logic. You come up with any idea. What is the logic in this? Will it work? I don't think it will work. There's no logic in this. Everything, according to us, needs to have left-brained, you see, logic, analysis, words. We are so tuned, conditioned to use the left brain, and we are measuring everything based on that. Then we start asking very difficult questions because we don't have an answer. We ask, is it practical? I'm not sure. Is it ambiguous? Is it a sensible idea? Do I look sensible or do I look stupid if I give the answer? If I give the suggestion, will it make me look intelligent or stupid? It might be appearing stupid, so I don't say it. My creativity goes down. We all look for practical solutions. When we started off, I don't have the solution, but I might have a stepping stone which could give me the solution. I don't have the entire blueprint right now, but we could build it up. We don't give ourselves that time. And we think that relaxing and playing and fooling around is very frivolous. Actually, the brain needs these breaks to be able to come up with more creative solutions. When you're relaxed, your brain waves are lower, they help you come up with creative ideas. The moment we say, I'm not interested in that area of work, I'm not interested in music, I'm not interested in art, well, what are you doing to your creativity? Bringing it down. Get yourself interested in it. Don't ever say, I'm not interested in it. Okay, you like to watch movies of a particular kind. All right, watch something else. Generate that interest. You will see that you become more creative. Absolutely. Your own belief in yourself. Can I be creative? Am I creative? I don't think I'm creative. Oh, I'm very creative. That will depend, that will determine what kind of creative ideas you get. Remember, genie, your wish is my command. If I inherently believe what I am repeatedly told and I believe those people who are telling me that, hey, you're not creative enough, I'll start believing that. Change it. Get out of that. You will do really better. Past experience. We tried to do something, it didn't work. That's why I'm not giving any more creative ideas. Well, conditions were different, situations were different. Do it again. Past experience should not deter you from coming up, being more creative. Let yourself free, have fun. Your brain loves it. Ideation, very important. I'm going to be sharing a few tips now on how you could be more able to be an idea generation machine yourself. Questioning. You have to start questioning. Don't take everything for granted. Think very differently. What if I do this? What if I don't do that? What if I don't have to walk up the stairs? Is there any other way I could reach up? What if? What can be? Creativity is not what is. Creativity is what can be. You need to start thinking, disruptive thinking in that manner. What caused it? Why not? Instead of saying why, so it's a good idea. When you are in a team thinking on your hackathon, for example, and one fellow says, why should we do this? You can just counter and say, why not? That will trigger off a very different kind of thought process. Don't accept it. Why not? I'm asking you a question. Why cannot it be done? Well, that is also a way to get more creative. Observing. Observe using your senses. I can't stop repeating. It is so important. The more you use your senses in every aspect, it's going to help you be a more creative person. Whether it is in your job or your companies or your technologies or products or services or whatever you're doing, you're just taking a walk, be more productive, use your senses a lot more. That is the input for the brain. If you're not using your senses, your brain is not getting its natural food. Use your senses, observe. And I have seen this, that real creative ideas are probably just a modification of existing situations, existing systems, existing processes somewhere else. That has been adapted to suit this situation and it becomes a revolutionary idea. But for that, you need to be observant. You need to be aware of what's happening, and you also need to have a good memory so that you can remember that I've seen this. Both of them go hand in hand. Networking, meeting up with a variety of people. You like to hear a particular kind of song or genre of songs, go and listen to something different. Meet up with people other than your work, other than your college, other than your department. Go out, meet up with them. You will have a different viewpoint, something which will add on to your entire range of knowledge based work. The more people you meet, everybody has something good to share. Meet them, interact with them, be open to their ideas. Don't shoot them down, don't judge them, don't criticize them. Absorb what you think is right. And well, experiment. Don't feel shy of experimenting. What if I fail? Don't let that be in your vocabulary. Try new experiences. It's always great to have tried and failed rather than just sat on the sideline and say this will not work. Because every time you try something, you will learn new skills, try out something new. Pick up a product, disassemble it, find out how does this model work. Let's open it up. I'll learn something, and that will help me somewhere else. So when I mentioned in my initial what all I do, so I have my own industry. One machine, a lathe machine, I wanted modified. So I got some part of a milling machine and brought it in. Worked well. A grinding machine attachment worked well. You are modifying the machine from different existing processes. Why? Because you've seen, hey, this is going to work well. I need it to work here. Modify it, use it, experiment it. I don't need these aspects. Break it down, disassemble it, required parts, bring it in. It works wonderful. You may not get it right always the first time, but you can always work on it again. That's what creativity is all about. So, in this session, we have shared with you the importance of the brain, how the brain works, imagination, association, use your senses, do something new every day, how to brainstorm. Do it individually first, don't judge, don't criticize, then get into a group which will trigger off a very different level. That's how you would be able to excel in ideation. In the hackathon, you need idea generation. The tips that I've shared with you will go a long way in helping you generate more and more ideas. Remember, everything starts with the brain. It is your genie. Tell it what you want, it will do, it will deliver, it always will, has always done. So with this, we are to the end of our session. We wish you all the best. Keep these small tips in mind. The ones that I've given you are very easily implementable, which you can do on a daily basis. You don't have to go out and buy something, invest something. It's all there with you. Just be aware of how you can use your brain to your advantage. All right? All the best and see you soon.